All right, we got one of these 100 amp BMSs from batteryhookup.com. This is a 10S BMS that we're going to be using here. We're going to be putting it on this cart. So we're back to this cart. I haven't shared anything about it in a while. I've changed some of the charge controlling setup and grid tie inverter, and we'll kind of go over all of that. But basically, long story short, is I've that thing fried, and I think that thing fried that thing, but we'll get to that later. And the other solution that I've been toying around with doing is using a BMS. Now, will this cart run off of a 100 amp continuous BMS? That's the question that I've been wondering, and we are going to find that out in this video. This is a Bluetooth. It has Bluetooth functionality. You can see it has a little Bluetooth thing for the app that we'll download, and we'll get some real live data as to what this cart actually draws off of the battery. You can see the continuous current is 100 amps right here, and the pulse discharge current is 200 amps. So we charging current 60. This also has temperature protection, which is really good for these batteries because 32 degrees, they don't like to be charged. So if the sun happens to come out and it's under 32 degrees, it's going to charge this battery. So we're gonna see if this solves all of our problems. Maybe we don't need a solar charge controller. This will have over voltage protection and just shut off the solar when it gets to that point. And so we're gonna figure it out. The question though, I feel like the question with this is, will it run the cart? And I actually have a feeling that it will, but we're going to find that out and get some real live data in the process from this Bluetooth functionality. So this is a pretty heavy cart. So if you have a standard golf cart, I would say that if it'll run this with the extra weight of the solar on top and everything, then it will run your standard golf cart. So then the other thing is, will it run our 3,000 watt inverter? And just to do the math real quick, let's take a look. If we got a 36 volt, clear that. If we have 3,000 watts, divide that by 37, we have 81 amps continuous at 3,000. This probably surges to 6,000 watts or something, but so I would say that we technically can run our inverter through this too. Seems like some small wires for all of that, but here we go. All right, so the first step, how do we hook up this complicated mess with very vague instructions? A B minus, C minus, probably closer to the grades I got in school, maybe a little above that, and then all these other wires. So obviously we have a this is just the Bluetooth plug. It goes into the thing there, programmable port. Then we got a red wire, and then we got a bunch of white wires and a black wire. So all of these just go to dead ends. We'll have to use some wire nuts or whatever. So battery hookup gives you the diagram. I feel like that's pretty simple. So basically what we're doing on this BMS, we are running the negative line from the battery, looks like from the battery minus, the main battery negative, up through our BMS and then out. This would be our output of our battery minus. So hook to our battery minus there, and then it comes through the BMS and out. And so when this BMS shuts everything off, it just kills the negative power to everything. So then all of these other leads, you can see all the white leads go to the individual cells at each point there, at each series connection. So, and then the black lead goes to the main negative, the red lead goes to the main positive, and then we'll have 10 cells total. So we have 11 wires here, but we'll have 10 total because we're going to be hooking basically that red and that black. Make a long story short, that it'll all add up on our 10S battery. So we got 10 cells here. And the beauty of these things, the other side of this series connection is on the bottom of this, but thank goodness they gave us a connection around up to the top of this. So we'll be probably just cutting this and figuring out which one goes where. Hooking her in. All right, so we're hooking up our BMS, and let's say you don't know which is the beginning and end, and which cells come first and last. Maybe you don't have access to all of the terminal ends like this one, where I just have the wires that come out. So what we'll need to find is our main positive, and you can look at our diagram here. We have our main positive that comes in, and then our main positive wire that goes to there. We need to go from the main positive to the next series connection with the first wire, and then the second wire and third to the like that. So maybe you don't have access, like we don't have access here, to all of it to know, you know, which color here goes where. And once we start, it might become pretty self-explanatory. But what we have to do is find, got our meter here, put our meter down. We'll put our probe number 1 on the positive there, and then we need to find our next one. So you'd think, oh, from there to there, that's the next one. Then we should have about 4 volts or something like that, 3 point something. That would be wrong, because this is the second series connection, because these batteries, you can see positive red goes down, it's series connected down there. That one down there is first series connection. Then it comes up, and this is the second series connection, down, third series connection, up, fourth. So we need to find the first one. So we'll probe into the plug here, and we got 3.6 volts on that one, first try. So let's go to the next one on the plug, and we got 10 volts. So then that would be the next one. So we got from 3.6, what we're at right now. Yeah, 3.6 plus 3.6 plus another 3.6 is our 10, and then we'll figure out what our next one is. Yeah, so we got first series connection, third series connection, fifth series connection, 7th series connection, 9th series connection, and then we'll go to the main negative. Or sorry, then we'll go, this would be our 10th series connection, I think. But anyways, that's basically how you want to do it. And in each way, I'll probably just go along and make sure we got 3.6 volts from the one we're doing to the next one along each way, so I don't mess up on my math. All right, so we got them all hooked in, and if you're ever second guessing your work, because it can be a kind of a confusing mess doing all of this, you can always run your meter down each one of these leads just kind of, you know, hook it on there, stick your probe on one, and then just go down the row and just make sure it kind of, the voltage drops by, you know, 3-4 volts with each one, and there ain't any weird oddities. And that voltage will be different with yours. Obviously my pack isn't charged very high right now, so that's why my voltage is at 3.6 instead of 4 or 4.2. So we disconnected it from the BMS while we were doing it, just because there were just kind of wires everywhere. Made it a little easier that way. So we got it all hooked in and got a little bit of heat shrink on there to hold our wires nice and tight. We'll plug this in, and I got to find a place to put this BMS, just because it's short wires and probably be extending some wires and whatnot, but we'll figure out where we're going to put that, plug it all in, and then hook our charging wires, because these go up front to my solar, so the solar will push back to this and charge the battery. So we're going to hook this negative lead probably down there, which comes off of the battery negative goes down there, so we'll probably hook it down there, and then this battery cable will come up and splice in with this, and then it'll go through this, and then this will hook to the battery negative. That way this charging goes through the BMS this way, and it will limit the charging and do the over voltage and the under voltage cut off up to that solar connection up there for all those other things that I got up there. So there we are. Okay, we got it hooked up. You can see our battery minus to our output, which goes to just the negative side of the controller, and all our leads hooked up. We plugged it in, and we're going to go ahead and plug in our Bluetooth module and download the app. So we'll probably have to switch over to a screen recording so we can kind of see what's going on there. All right, did flash real quick as soon as I plugged it in. We'll try to connect to it. Okay, so we just find the app in the App Store, download it, get it installed. Once we get it installed, we can open up the app, and hopefully we'll be able to find our Bluetooth BMS. All right, so there it is right there. We connect to our Bluetooth BMS and should be able to read the data that comes from the BMS, from the battery. All right, so there it is. We got established a connection, and I guess that's the first video of this series. I'll try to post some videos about just me testing it and running it, what it takes to overload the BMS, you know, the solar charging, how well that works, and how many amps we're charging at, some of the over voltage protection, some of the under voltage protection. So please subscribe. I appreciate it a lot.